I based it on that and I wrote the script and I sold the script and then I got fired and Everyone knows The Breakfast Club as the perfect teen movie, but there's one scene that proves it wasn't so perfect. After all, in 1985 a mistake slipped past every editor, every producer, and every person who watched the final cut. It involves Claire's lipstick and something that should be impossible. But that's not even the strangest part. The same thing happens with Brian's most important moment in the entire film. What he kisses at the end will shock you. The film that became a cultural phenomenon almost had a very different name. John Hughes first titled his script The Lunch Bunch, imagining a group of students who met during their lunch period instead of Saturday detention. That changed when he discovered that New Trier High School in Weka, Illinois had a real detention program nicknamed the Breakfast Club. Students there had been using that term since the mid-1970s, with more than 200 cycling through those early Saturday sessions every year. By 1982, Hughes loved the authentic sound of the name and changed his title immediately. In a 1985 Rolling Stone interview, he explained that the Breakfast Club sounded more institutional, more like something kids would actually call it. Universal scrapped all the original Lunch Bunch promotional materials at a cost of $15,000, a decision that proved worthwhile when the new title went on to become one of the most iconic in film history. Hughes wrote the script during what many consider one of the most remarkable creative bursts in Hollywood history. From February 14th to 16th in 1982, he locked himself in his home office in Lake Forest, Illinois, and wrote not just one but two complete screenplays. In a marathon fueled by 47 cups of coffee and only 6 hours of sleep, he filled 312 handwritten pages. He played the same Bruce Springsteen album, Nebraska, 23 times in a row as he wrote, believing it helped him capture teenage angst. He finished The Breakfast Club at 3:47 in the morning on February 16th and immediately called his agent, Michael Oites, despite the late hour. When the film was finally made, 87% of the dialogue came directly from that original draft. First, Universal doubted a script written so quickly could succeed, so they greenlit 16 Candles as his directorial debut instead. But The Breakfast Club eventually hit theaters in 1985, earning more than $51 million and launching the careers of the Brat Pack generation. The authenticity of the story came from Hughes's own painful high school years at Glenbrook North High School in Northbrook, Illinois, where he studied. Between 1966 and 1970, Hughes served 14 separate Saturday detentions in his junior year alone for infractions like smoking in the bathroom, being late, and talking back to teachers. He kept a 3.8 GPA but secretly struggled with anxiety about college admissions. The character of Brian Johnson was inspired by those pressures. Hughes even admitted in a 1986 Chicago Sun-Times interview that he had contemplated suicide during his senior year because of social isolation. That confession helped inspire Brian's emotional scene in the film about wanting to end his life over a failing grade. To ensure his script felt real, Hughes interviewed more than 150 teenagers between 1980 and 1984, paying each of them $25 to describe their school experiences. He also drew from his detailed high school journals, which contained conversations and social dynamics that later appeared almost word for word in the film. What began as a simple detention comedy soon grew into a deep psychological portrait of teenagers. Hughes's original 47-page treatment had focused on escape attempts and food fights, but his direction changed after consulting child psychologist Dr. Ellen Rosenberg, who introduced him to the concept of identity versus role confusion from Erik Erikson's developmental psychology. In November 1983, Hughes attended a conference at Northwestern University, where he heard a presentation on the social construction of teen identity. These influences led him to add the confessional sequences and the now famous circle scene inspired by real group therapy techniques he had observed at a suburban teen counseling center. Universal executives at first resisted this heavier direction. Studio head Tom Mount even wrote in a memo, "This is too heavy for our target demographic." But Hughes fought to keep his vision. The script expanded from 47 to 89 pages, through 7 major revisions with input from 3 different psychologists until it reached the emotional power we see on screen. Even the casting process came close to creating a very different film. At the 40th anniversary reunion in 2025, Molly Ringwald revealed that John Cusack had originally been cast as John Bender. He went through extensive auditions, traveling multiple times between Chicago and Los Angeles. In the final round, Hughes initially chose him over Judd Nelson, but producer Ned Tannen and Hughes eventually decided that Cusack lacked the intimidating presence the role demanded. This was surprising since Cusack was actually the bigger star at the time. According to casting director Jackie Birch, Hughes had flown Cusack in for a major screen test, making the decision to replace him all the more unexpected. Molly Ringwald herself was first offered the role of Allison Reynolds, the withdrawn basket case, but after reading the script she felt a stronger connection to the character of Claire, who at that stage was still called Kathy Douglas. Ringwald lobbied hard for the change, competing against Robin Wright, Jodie Foster, Diane Lane, and Laura Dern for the part. Early drafts discovered in 2015 show just how different the character was before Hughes renamed her Claire. Ringwald later admitted she hated the original name, saying Kathy felt like a fat girl's name, while Claire had the elegant presence needed for the queen bee of Shima High. That change cemented her performance as one of the most iconic in teen cinema. Emilio Estevez also nearly played Bender instead of Andrew. Hughes originally cast him as the rebellious troublemaker, but when they struggled to find a believable actor for the wrestler Andrew Clark, Estevez was moved